Hey guys, welcome to the show. This is Brick by Brick, the podcast where we build community one conversation at a time, brick by brick. I am your host, Brad, the Brick Crihfield, and I have an awesome show for you today. I have John Giries. He is the owner of the Stand-Up Club, which just opened up in Bellflower. That's right. Bellflower has their very own stand-up comedy club, and it is awesome. Also, this episode is sponsored by On It Meal Prep. If you like meal prep, if you want to get in shape, Mandy, my wife, and I, we get meals delivered every single week. The meals are amazing. They taste great. They're healthy. It's awesome. Steve Moreno, the owner, is a huge supporter of the show and a good friend of mine. Check him out. I'll put all the info in the description, so definitely check it out. If you're new to the show, or if you've been a while and just haven't done it, make sure you like and follow the page, Brick Television, on Facebook and YouTube. Without further ado, let's get to the show.
Testing, 1, 2.
John Giries.
Yeah, there we go. You're on it now.
Man.
Serious. There it is.
I'm really excited to be here with you today.
Thank you for inviting me.
And to have a comedy club that close in Bellflower is a huge deal. So for all the other comedy lovers, thank you, John.
You are welcome. Our mission was to build a comedy club that wasn't just a club, right? It was an experience, the ultimate comedy experience. Visually, then what you hear, your dining options. Most places have a stage with a room.
Yeah.
They use the word club, but it's not really a club.
Right.
It's a building.
Right.
So we thought of upping our game a little bit and bringing an experience like none other to Bellflower. Well, and again, Lakewood, all the touch points, Downey, Paramount. If you really think about it, Bellflower touches so many cities in a circumference of maybe 5 miles.
Yeah, it's a small city. So you got a lot of access to a lot of different folks, and that's the thing. I mean, I'm the chair of the Chamber of Commerce in Lakewood, but people in Lakewood are just as excited as people in Bellflower, as in Downey, as in Cerritos. I mean, everything's right there. And that's also reflective of the talent that you're bringing in. They don't all live in Bellflower, California, right?
No.
Tell me about some of the talent you've had and kind of what your vision is for shows in the future.
Thank you. Yeah, you know what? The talent we have are all headliners. Our formula, if you will, is to bring people, comics that have been vetted, national recognized talent that will be on our stage that people can say, oh yeah, I remember him on Showtime, HBO, Jimmy Kimmel. Oh yeah. There's a certain upscalability to that when you bring recognizable talent on a stage and their eyes light up and 15 minutes of their material is all killer. And then they leave versus, you get a guy who's just starting out, and there are places for that, open mics and they're, lesser shows. But 20 minutes on stage when you're off is an eternity.
Yeah.
As a audience member. So we felt to really bring it, we wanted to bring in big name comics to really launch the club.
Yeah. And you've been open for, you've had soft openings for a few weeks now, a couple weeks?
About a week and a half. Okay. We're doing soft openings all the way up through our grand opening, maybe late August. It gives us an opportunity to kind of scale what we need to change, what's working, what's not working, how many days a week we're going to do it, the type of talent we're going to bring in. We're almost testing the comics as well as our operation, right? Some comics don't get a big enough laugh that we thought they were going to get, and we kind of might change things up a little bit. But we've been over the moon with our talent. A lot of that has to do with our booking. Our booker has been in it for over 30 years, and I couldn't be more happier with him on board. His name's Richard Barrett, and just a gentleman, well respected in the industry. And so, you align yourself with the right people who bring in the right talent, and that's a great recipe.
Yeah. And I did see Darren Carter made a kind of an impromptu live kind of walk around, and so I saw you have a green room for the comics.
Yes.
And he was going over a lot of the stuff you have on the walls. You have different and I had the privilege of going just last week for my birthday, and you have different booths that are you have the Robin Williams booth, you have the Richard Pryor booth. You do a lot of paying tribute to the giants of comedy, right? Like the legends of comedy.
Right.
Why is that important to you, and why is that important to the club?
That is a great question. That's kind of the nucleus of our club, right? So, a lot of the youth of today, they love the Kevin Harts, the Seinfelds, the Tiffany Haddishes. They're all amazing. They're all great. But they were mentored or inspired by so many of the legends of the past. And I feel like a lot of the younger generation don't really know who these people were.
Yeah.
And, everyone's Googling. Everybody's on their phone searching. And what a better way to have a little history of comedy while you're enjoying a show.
Yeah.
Everything in there was dedicated by the Legends Estates. We have permission, and it was an honor to speak to everyone on behalf of their families' estates. And we've had great reception, and it's been an overwhelming satisfaction for us. I've been fortunate, like my wife, who has a master's degree in advertising, really set the tone on a lot of the things that we were doing inside the club. We both are branding designers, so we designed the entire club ourselves.
Right.
So there was a little bit of that personal touch, with a lot of trial and error, what would work, what wouldn't work. But when you walk into the club and you're in front of all the history and the lore of the comedy, titans that are in that room, you're taken back. You're like, wow, you know what? Oh yeah, I remember that guy. I remember seeing him somewhere, and just giving people a little bit of a history.
Right.
And sitting in that booth, which you experienced.
Yeah.
Isn't there just a little something else feeling about it?
Yeah, it's really cool, especially when you go in to book your booth. You're kind of like, I was very like, man, I really want the Robin Williams booth. Like you kind of like, it feels different. Sure, it's a booth, just like a booth, but you kind of feel like it's a different experience.
It is. Our menus are customized for each legend. So if you're in the Robin Williams booth, the menu's basically customized with Robin Williams. It has a bio of him, his photo, and same thing with Phyllis Diller, Richard Pryor, George Carlin, and Rodney Dangerfield. Every booth is customized for them. We have a call button on the table, so if you want to call,
I like that.
You call your
cool.
server, you hit the button, it turns red.
Yeah.
Little upscalability.
Yeah,
with that.
because that's the worst thing when you're at a show, any type of show, especially a comedy show, where you're trying to wave down a server.
Yeah.
Right? So I kind of nixed that.
Yeah.
I also noticed you had some posters on the wall that they were like the stand up. They look like magazine. And Scarlett, your wife, who I had the pleasure of talking to, she was mentioning. So you guys did all the marketing and the branding and for that. So is there any story with that? Like what were you doing with comedy before the club?
Well, prior to the club, or its strategy of producing the club, we produced a comedy magazine. Now, nobody wakes up and says, I'm going to do a comedy magazine.
Right.
But back in the 90s, I did stand-up comedy. And then I got into branding and the creative industry, which was great. And it just happened that we decided to, hey, an idea came up with another comic. Hey, let's produce a magazine. What do you think? And I thought about it, and I said, that's not a bad idea.
Tell me about it. What kind of magazine? What was in it?
So basically, the magazine we would headline a cover comic. So let's say we did Sebastian. We got lucky. We got Sebastian Maniscalco on our premiere cover.
Okay, he's great.
Awesome. One of the best in the business right now. Nice guy too. We had him on the cover. and we would write about upcoming comics, where they're performing, showcasing comics, and basically it was just a magazine to give stories of other comics and where you can see them, stuff that you typically, cultural things about comedy. And it really picked up a lot of steam. We were really fortunate. I mean, we've had Tiffany Haddish on our cover. Theo Von and Tiffany did a double cover shoot. We've had Rob Schneider.
Nice.
We've had Anthony Jeselnik. We've had Maz Jobrani, who was great. And we've been very fortunate. It really picked up a lot of steam. And once the magazine was up and running, an opportunity came up. And we said, if we take the logo of the magazine, just take out magazine and put Comedy Club underneath it, it's just a perfect symmetry.
So it set you up to make a lot of connections and build some rapport with a lot of talent too, right?
You do. A lot of PR people, their managers, their reps, and the comics themselves. I mean, we're very respectful. Some things we have to work around their schedule, but it's been great. I mean, one thing that people have to understand about comedy, sure, it's great, it's funny, but the craft of comedy is one of the most difficult things to do.
Yeah.
Because the comics are gladiators on the stage in front of a mob. And either you can, kill it where the mob's happy, or the mob can go against you.
Yeah.
And the highest respect for the craft. It's not to be taken lightly. What they do and the writing and how long it takes to craft their material for that 15 minutes of excellence is amazing. Seriously, it's one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah, it is very gladiatorish. It's almost like you can see the crowd with their thumbs, just like deciding whether or not to go off with their head.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of comedy shows, and it's very hard to watch a comedian not do too well on stage. It can be, sometimes it's hard for the audience too. Like, it's hard to sit through it kind of, because sometimes just you have an off night. But there is nothing better than a comedian just crushing it. And my number one comedian of all time, Norm Macdonald. I went and saw him a couple times, and my face hurt for days. And it was the first time my face hurt from laughing so much. Mm-hmm. I feel like laughter is the best medicine for most things that especially mental health. Right. And we need it now more than ever. And I just think it's such a very important. It's a very important talent to share with the world, and sometimes it's not always the easiest for people that want to get into that, especially in the cancel culture kind of time we're in right now. So you got to really take your hats off and respect the people that are kind of putting it out there, and especially the ones that kind of walk that line. Like, I think of Bill Burr, I think of Joe Rogan, I think of these guys who aren't afraid to find the line and give people that release of saying things that they've thought but they would never say, but they're like, oh, you said it, now I feel like I can bury the feeling of needing to say that.
Comedy is a very lonely profession. Most of these professional comics travel alone. They write their own material. They're waiting for they show up 10 minutes before their set, they do it, then they leave, they go to either another performance. So it's like a golfer without a caddy.
Yeah.
They do it all themselves, and they wait for that audience's reaction to give them, that self-proclamation of, yes, all those hours I stood, writing all this material paid off.
Yeah.
Versus it didn't work. Gosh, here I was thinking it was going to work. Now I got to go back and retool it. And sometimes audiences are so different. You go to Kansas or you go to, Washington or LA, the same material will not be as effective because audiences are different.
Just different cultures.
Right.
Yeah.
So that alone adds to it. So knowing the industry, I've been in it for 8 to 10 years in the comedy space, and I was able to see what, these comics are going through, how they, they weren't really treated really well. There's a lot of things across the board, that I said, you know what, we're going to make them feel at home. We're going to really go out of our way. Like, our green room has their own bathroom, their own entrance. We want them to have, sit back, have a great time. We'll take care of you. And, that type of, characteristic that we take on, making sure the comic's taken care of, we think is going to pay it forward down the road.
Yeah. And I think some of the same charm that I know each club is different, but from just a patron's point of view, like I would see a big difference going to it's like the Laugh Factory and then going to like the Comedy Store. Like one of them felt very going to a drive-through restaurant where it's just kind of get in, get out, no real feeling of like history or culture.
Right.
In the Comedy Store, I felt like I met Theo Vaughn a couple times there, because he would take the time after a show and like hang out.
Sure.
There's that little hallway there. You just walked by, Kirk Fox, who I really enjoy, and you see all these guys, and it makes you feel like you're a part of that thing. That you're a part of it. You're not just showing up for a show. And that's the same feeling I got going to your place, where it was the comedians stuck around for a little bit after. You can kind of see him off to the side of the stage, kind of hanging out by the green room. You feel like you really are in the same room with them, but you feel like you're in the same time and place as them, and not just showing up to, see somebody on stage and then they disappear. Yeah,
that's a good perspective on it. All the clubs that have been around since the 50s and 60s have done an amazing job to bring comedy more in the forefront. Their hard work, all the other clubs have done an amazing job of bringing that attention to, hey, live comedy is not the same as watching it on Netflix.
Right.
Come to a club, come to an experience unlike anything else. I mean, they've really set the tone and paved the street for myself to come in and be part of it. So I owe them a debt of thanks for their work and their years of putting something like what they do in the public eye.
Yeah. So what has been the hardest part about opening up a Comedy Store in the city?
Well, I wouldn't say Comedy Store. That they're unique to themselves. I always tell people Comedy Club.
Sorry, Comedy.
Yeah.
Club.
I don't want any copyright issues, but
right.
The thing is, Hollywood, certain parts of greater LA County have already had comedy in their cities, right? And so you have people who travel from other parts of the area that'll go because they've been around forever. I think what we're trying to do now is, let everybody know, hey, you don't have to jump on the 101 and drive an hour and a half. Hey, you don't have to drive too far to go see a great performance and great dining and great experience, right? So I think it's just a matter of getting the local communities on board, knowing that we're here, right? It's still new. We're still, trying to get ourselves out into the public eye. Our website just went live yesterday.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
thestandupclub.com. So there's still some things we're working on getting more readily available for a lot of the people to search for us and check out our shows. But, like right now, what I feel with our neighboring city, which is Lakewood, and I remember Lakewood back in the day. I remember when Tower Records used to be where the fabric store.
By Joanne's. My wife goes there nonstop. She does crochet.
Right, the Hop.
She's all about it.
Remember the Hop?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was hopping.
I grew up in Lakewood for many years, and I remember, Candlewood. Can they have any more restaurants down that street?
Now it's just chicken. It's just chicken sandwich places.
Yeah,
they have 5 chicken sandwich places on that. It used to be Restaurant Row. Now it's Fast Food Row.
Right, but
not to talk trash on it,
but still, I think Lakewood gets it right. So they have a lot of things for their residents to go to. There's a lot of options for dining, for shopping. It's great, but nightlife entertainment, I think, was a void.
Yeah.
So I thought, with the club bringing a premium experience to all the neighboring cities, hopefully we'll be able to give them a little more to do.
Yeah.
Drive down 5-10 minutes from Lakewood. Come on down. So again, we're still in the midst of taking off on the tarmac.
Yeah.
We're still taxiing a little bit. But putting something together like this was not an easy task because there were a lot of things that had to be wrinkled out, a strategy plan, dealing with the city. They own the building.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that we had to, I think the timing was perfect because 10 years ago, coming into the city, hey, we want to open up a comedy club. I don't think they were ready.
Yeah.
10 years ago. I think it would have been the wrong time.
Well, to his credit, former mayor Juan Garza
Yes.
he is a very forward thinker, and he's done a lot for Bellflower, especially the development in kind of the downtown Bellflower area. So I would imagine over the past couple of years, you've had to deal with the city council and some of those guys, and they've been very, I don't know about 10 years ago, I would imagine it'd be a different story. But I know people like Juan Garza and more recently Victor Sanchez, they're much more forward thinking. They love it. They've already been to the club.
They have.
And and they love it. So I think, the timing is pretty good.
It is. I graduated from St. John Bosco in 1984.
Okay.
My family's been in Bellflower since the late 70s. So I feel like this is, people say, oh, why? I go, why not?
Right.
People say, why Bellflower? I say, why not? I mean,
Right.
It's not like we're in, some far off city past the 215.
Right.
Right. We're still in a very metropolitan area right outside of LA and not too far from Orange County. So geographically, I thought it made sense.
Yeah, you got good freeway access, and you're far enough away from other clubs. I mean, the only other one I could think of is maybe the Rec Room off the 405.
Great place. It's a great little spot. But they're not real, they're different.
Yeah, they're more of like a room inside of a place.
Yeah, like
It's
a bowling alley
yeah.
with a room.
Yeah, and again, it was cool. And I have a friend that works there. He does the booking and I think he managed a couple of the nights there. Yeah, great guy. But it's different, right? I mean, when you go to your place, it's you're going to a comedy club. It's a whole different thing, as opposed to going to the bowling alley and there's a place where people do comedy. Right? It's just different.
Right. And you know what? People are saying, well, how are you going to get comics to come down here? We've had an overflow of so many comics that want to perform in Bellflower. Hey, how do I get booked to your room? Oh my God, I'm in town. And a lot of people from New York, East Coast, want to come down here and perform, do a set. So it's been great from the comics perspective, and the running joke is when they're on stage, I've never been to Bellflower. Even Kelly Carlin, when Kelly came to do the ribbon cutting for George's booth, which we were very honored to have her come down.
I saw that. That was really cool.
She lives in Westchester. Couldn't have asked for a better ambassador for the Legends of Comedy. She and her husband were amazing. But she's like, I've never been to Bellflower.
Yeah.
And she was enamored by the cute, the downtown, the little stores. She said, what a cute little city.
Yeah.
And I said, yes, it is. And, I feel like new Bellflower starting to emerge from what Bellflower was.
Right.
A lot more progression, a lot more commerce now. And so, in time, I think the whole landscape of the downtown of Bellflower is going to be so much more grand.
Yeah.
When they're done with it,
you could see you could see the difference between Bellflower and other neighboring cities just by the car shows that they would have down Bellflower Boulevard there, the concerts, they have a lot of things going on. And a lot of people don't know about them because they're all kind of concentrated near the south end of Bellflower. And Lakewood, I love Lakewood, and I help with some of the events. We do events, but it's different. It's different. And I think there's a lot more of a push in Bellflower to kind of get that downtown area kind of up and going. And I think that the comedy club is a big part of that.
I think so too. I think the city, and I got to give props to the Economic Development Department in Bellflower, who's run by Jim Delalonga. He got it when I first came up and, 4 years ago, came up with a letter of intent.
Yeah.
He was a huge proponent of getting this into the right hands of the right people, and we kind of got the ball rolling from there. So the city understood what this project meant, what it could turn into, and it's a big deal. I mean, I'm just excited about getting people to experience something, so local, right? You're getting someone like Alonzo Bowden.
Yeah.
You're getting somebody that was just on America's Got Talent. We have Alex Hooper coming up this week. We had Taylor Williamson, who was just on AGT. We're getting a lot of...
What was the name of the old white guy? Dude, he cracked me up so hard.
Oh, I'm trying to remember his name. Yes.
When you get it, let me know because I need
He
to
was
look
great,
him up.
wasn't he?
He was awesome. And I brought my dad, who's like, my dad's like he doesn't have a cell phone. He's like a old, former Marine.
Yeah.
And I took him out for my birthday, and I just looked over at my dad when that gentleman was doing his jokes, his type of comedy.
Havey. His last name's Havey. I have to remember his first name.
My dad was just like cracking up. Like, no, and like that's the beautiful part. Like, you go and you see a set of 4, 5, 6 comics. Maybe not every one of them's for you, but one of them's gonna get you.
Right.
And probably more than one. But I was looking at my dad at a couple of them, and he's hard to crack. But once he came up, it was a game over.
Yeah.
It was priceless.
Well, see, that's the importance of diversity of a lineup.
Yeah.
We cover all the gamma of diversity, not just ethnicity, but also gender, which is a big deal right now, right?
Yeah.
We believe in giving female comics a voice and a stage to do their work, because I feel like there's a shortage of stages. Mm-hmm. We have hundreds, if not thousands, of comics, but there's not that many stages to do work on.
Right.
So we want to be one of those diverse clubs that say, hey, we want you to come and perform regardless of your color, regardless of your gender. Doesn't matter. Comedy is colorblind. Comedy is gender blind. It's your ears that tell you, are you funny or not?
Right.
And so we're really trying to be one of those clubs that embrace and promote equality. Bellflower and its neighboring cities are a melting pot of diversity.
Yeah.
So we need to show that on stage.
Yeah.
So it kind of has some really good reviews. People really love that rapid fire buffet style of comics, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody doing 15 minutes, you're getting the best of them, and then you get another comic. So you're getting more for your money because you're getting so much variety out of it.
Yeah. And you yourself did some comedy.
I did. I came up in the 90s, took a comedy class, fell in love with it, started writing. I still write. And, after a few years, work got in the way. I had to make a decision, pay the bills or do comedy.
Yeah.
So I never lost the love of it. I just put something on the side until later, and it kind of now transpired into something else, where that love turned into more of a passion to create something that no one's ever seen before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just a little something else.
And when you did comedy, who would you say was your biggest influence?
Wow. That's I gotta say, George Carlin is right up there.
Okay.
He was more than a comic. He was a preacher on stage. He was someone who turned the English language on its back, mm-hmm. and even the human society, turn it around to make fun of it.
Yeah.
People would embrace it. I just think now we're in a cancel culture. Everyone's offended really quickly.
I mean, I think of people like, geniuses like George Carlin. I would hate to see him performing today and him get canceled, because he would get canceled for the stuff he says.
Rodney Dangerfield would have gotten canceled.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor would have gotten canceled.
Oh, yeah.
Sam Kinison probably wouldn't have gotten.
Oh, he wouldn't even got on.
Right.
Through his
So
first set.
I feel like their era set the tone for where we're at now.
Yeah.
Like Lenny Bruce. Lenny Bruce took a bullet for everybody in comedy today.
Yeah.
Without his, arrests and, issues he had with society and law enforcement, freedom of speech wouldn't have happened on stage without him. So.
And it's hard to reconcile a lot of the very noble and just movements of today with that First Amendment kind of just like holding, even if it's something you don't want to hear, even if it tries to be funny and it lands flat. I think that there's people like me that I can be very progressive and I can be very supportive of a lot of things, but then I go like, okay, but don't mess with free speech. Don't cancel people just because you don't like their opinion. You could do stuff to support your cause without trying to silence people. And comedians, they're really on the forefront of that. And, and we spoke a little bit before. I mean, in a club, even more so. That's why it's so important that people don't record and don't take video in a club, right? Because you're on an exploratory mission when you're in a club with a live audience. You're finding out what is going to go on that CD. Is the CD old? You don't say CD anymore,
CD,
right?
oh,
You still get
MP3,
CDs. Album.
record
It goes on the album.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's so important, and that's why I think. I mean, comedy is huge. So George Carlin, all those guys.
I'd say all the legends were big influences. It pushed you to write better.
Mm-hmm.
It pushed you to have a presence on stage, find your own identity. Don't copy anybody else. Don't steal jokes.
Yeah.
Don't rewrite it to make it your own. There's a lot of things, you take from your own experience, your own life. There's enough comedy in there to draft something that's killer. And for the people listening who haven't been to the club, I welcome you to come and experience it yourself. What I did want to do also for your listening audience is to offer a promo code Lakewood21.
Okay.
When they type that in on our website for a show, they will get a $10 discount.
Nice.
For a show. We feel like we want to be able to give back.
Yeah.
If, it only works if people come to laugh.
Right.
What good is having... remember that Matrix? What good is a phone call if you're unable to speak?
Right.
What good is having a comedy club if nobody wants to laugh?
Yeah.
The key thing that we wanted when we built it was it's the best sound system of any club that anyone's been in. It's the best lighting and video of anywhere you've seen. We have a 150-inch 4K projection, super short throw that is, and you've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you can watch a movie there or do presentations, which we're going to offer our venue for rental for corporate events. We're offering advertising on our projection and the monitors outside. We have a package for, corporate sponsorships. It's not just a comedy club. It's really an entertainment venue that can do almost anything.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're pushing. The day use. We're going to offer roasts if you wanted to roast somebody.
Sweet. Roast Steve.
I would love to roast him. Write some material, bring his friends and family, and just start roasting him.
Speaking of which, I do apologize about the flies, but I didn't know Steve was going to bring you food. He never brings me food, but actually, I'm kidding.
Not going to complain. I'll take the flies because
yeah.
This food was. It's not really even food. I mean, this feels like nourishment. Feels like fuel.
Yeah.
That's what I'm eating. I'm eating fuel.
Yeah.
It's all organic and protein based. It's not just junk.
Yeah.
So it's fuel. Thank you for making fuel.
Yeah, you should start like a meal prep company, like that, like fuels athletes and stuff.
Yeah, maybe I'll get on that.
Yeah.
No, it was really good.
I'll get on it real quick, okay?
Yeah.
But again, for everybody listening, this is a club that's a very unique experience. We call it the ultimate comedy experience because it's not just visual. It's not just hearing, but it's around you, right? The quotes from the comics on the wall. There's a lot of engagement there.
Yeah, it's very immersive.
Yes, that's kind of the word I would use, immersive.
Yeah.
It's just not four walls.
Yeah.
No,
and I've already invited a handful because like that's like my thing. Like I have a few things, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like MMA is a huge part of my life. Like I competed, and comedy is a huge. Now I tried to do comedy, and I was not very good. I did 3 sets, I think like 10-minute sets. Not the best, right? But I wanted to give it a shot.
Okay.
And I love it, so why not, right? And there is something about like getting on, and maybe you probably did much better than I did, but being on stage, you respect it so much more, right? Because people like to think that they could do anything, and I'm one of those people. I'm like, I feel like I can pretty much, if I really put my mind to it, I can do it. But that's one of those things where it's not about getting on stage and talking to a mic. It's about all of the hours and the open-mindedness and creating a joke is a beautiful thing.
See, you get it. We're going to be offering comedy classes actually on the weekends.
I can't wait. I'm going to be in it.
We're going to offer comedy classes. The writing is where it's at. Once you're done with the writing, you have to construct the joke. Mm-hmm. When you construct it, it's timing.
Yeah.
Waiting for the punchline. Don't say it so fast. Timing is everything in a joke. You could say a joke really fast. It doesn't get it if you broke it up into 2. You had a little lull, then you said the punchline. People catch on.
There's psychology involved. You have to
There is.
know you have to know after you say these words, where's their mind going to go? and like allow them to go there for a second, then the punchline hits harder because they're thinking this way. Like there's so much to it.
You're absolutely, it's called letting the joke breathe.
Yeah.
You got to let it breathe because then you're going to inhale all the laughter, right?
Right.
So when you're saying it really fast and you're just like rapid fires telling jokes and stuff, the audience can't catch up to you.
Yeah.
And you have to let your mind evolve around what your next segue is going to be. Are you going to go in a different direction? Are you going to, you know what I mean? So you're absolutely right. Timing is everything. But our classes are really going to break down the construct of the writing and forming it and then it making a killer joke.
That's awesome.
So we're going to offer that on Saturdays. We're looking forward to that. That'll be down the road. But again, we want to offer so many things to so many people for the experience aspect of it.
Well, I think even what you were saying before, just even from like a chamber aspect of like having events there.
Yeah.
I mean, the area itself is kind of, it lacks good event space.
Okay.
So, you know, having events there, bigger meetings and parties, like that's cool. That's really
Right,
cool.
like chamber mixers.
Yeah.
Maybe a business card exchange event.
Yeah.
Or a networking event, a luncheon.
Mm-hmm.
What the big screen enables us to do is if we have a podium, we can put the city logo on it or a chamber logo, PowerPoint presentation where everybody can see it. That the space is really optimal for that type of event.
You could do short film screenings.
Which we actually we had 2 production companies film movies inside already.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had the University of Chapman came in and did a student film,
Nice.
which is great. So that was really
Like
cool.
they filmed it inside, like they did a scene.
A whole
with
movie
Oh, cool.
was filmed in there for 3 days with a 16-person crew.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so that'll be in the works of the whole film festival for
Yeah.
colleges down the road. But
Very
it's it's really made for multiple usage. You know,
Yeah.
the events, the shows, parties kind of thing. And like you said, there's not really much in the area to do something special like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
So what do you see in the future for the club as far as talent goes? You don't need to drop names,
Okay.
but just like what kind of talent? 'Cause I mean, I'm sure people, they'll be very blown away when the type of talent I know you're gonna have come to Bellflower.
I will say this. Everyone who's donned our stage to do comedy are all killer comics. They're all
Yeah.
headliners. They all are pros. Now,
Yeah.
we are planning in the near future. You have to stay in tune with our social media and our website.
And make sure you let everybody know where to go to.
So our website is thestandupclub.com. Our Instagram and Facebook handles are The Stand Up Comedy Club. And our Twitter is My Stand Up. So My Stand Up Club, actually. So what we're planning on is there could be some pop-up shows. There could be some last-minute shows that come on the radar screen with, very well-known talent.
Mm-hmm.
We're growing into that. I think, we just want to get people used to the comedy space in the neighboring cities. And then all of a sudden there'll be an announcement and so-and-so is going to perform. And there's just pandemonium, right? The rush to get tickets. We fit anywhere from 130 to 140 at the max seat capacity. We have 5 legendary booths. Each one holds 4 people. If you reserve the booth, you get free dessert for everybody in your booth. So that's kind of a nice plug.
Yeah.
And, on the anniversary, on the birthdays of each legend, whoever has that booth gets free dessert as well.
Cool.
So there's a lot of little special things we're trying to do. But as long as everybody follows us, they're not going to be surprised. Like, I didn't know so-and-so was going to be there. Had you followed us, you would have seen it.
Yeah.
Or word of mouth, or, it's really important, because at 140 seat capacity, tickets will be sold in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
We're not 500 plus.
Yeah.
We're trying to do multiple shows a night on weekends when we get there, 2 shows on Friday, 2 shows on Saturday. But, we just feel like we're, when you get the Ferrari, you don't want to open up the engine at 200 miles an hour right out of the go.
Right.
You want to go around the block a little bit.
Yeah.
Open the engine up slowly.
That's how I felt when I got my Hyundai.
Right.
It was a Tucson. I was like, I got to open this baby up slow.
Slow, right? Get comfortable in the seat.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we think. We don't want to burn out the engine. We just want to kind of take it out for a stroll, get it comfortable where we want it to be, and then we can open it up on the highway. So, and again, we're only as good as our people that we're connected to. Hambone's Smokehouse in Bellflower is one of our partners in creating the experience with their gourmet dining options. If none of you have ever tried Hambone's Smokehouse, I'm telling you right now, it's by far one of the best barbecue experiences you guys would have. 12 hours of smoked meats. So we're not offering, frozen chicken tenders.
Yeah.
Like other places, or, we only have like a few options on the menu where they go out to dinner and then they come to the club. No, we have real dinner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have real food, real gourmet options. So that kind of adds to the, hey, I want to get to the show early, get good seats. I want to have a good dinner. Our legendary, we have cocktails named after the legend. So like for Robin Williams, it's called the Mork,
Right.
which is a great
Mork and
drink.
Mindy.
Yep.
Right.
And Phyllis Diller's is called the Fang. If you remember, her jokes about her imaginary husband was called Fang.
Okay.
So that's named. Richard Pryor's name is Stir Crazy. Remember the
Okay.
film he
Oh, yeah.
made?
Oh, yeah. Anything with Gene Wilder.
Gene
pretty much.
Wilder, yeah. And then Rodney Dangerfield, No Respect,
Okay.
which is by far one of the more popular drinks with that habanero-infused tequila
Yeah.
with black rim salt. Everybody seems to love that drink.
Yeah.
And then...
My wife had one of those, actually.
Did she like it?
Yeah.
Good.
She did.
Good. And then George Carlin, funny thing, I was going to name it 7 Dirty Words
Okay.
from his HBO special.
Yeah.
And then when we had Kelly over, she thought about it and said, my dad's rap soliloquy called The Modern Man. I don't know if you remember that rap he did. It goes on for like 10 minutes of him rapping, him being a modern man. It's quite amazing. It's quite genius.
Yeah.
To have a memory the way he had it to do
It was
what he
insane.
did. I don't know if he was human.
Yeah.
Can I just say that right now?
Yeah.
I don't even know how he was able to remember all those words.
Yeah, he would have such a long monologue.
Yeah.
And he would just nail it.
Unlike any other,
Yeah.
he's on the Mount Rushmore. So she said, she would like the word the modern man. So we named the drink after
Nice.
him. So the legendary cocktails are all great. So we were trying to make all the little details of the club match
Yeah.
the exterior of the building, the interior of the building. Sometimes you walk into a beautiful building and you walk in and you're like, wow, this doesn't look anything like I thought it was going to look like
Right.
on the outside.
Right.
Or the outside looks like beat up, and then you walk in, you're like, oh my God, this place looks great, but it doesn't look like it from the outside.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure that everything matched when
Yeah.
you pulled up.
And it does. It's a really nice club. And yeah, I mean I'm just really excited that you guys are here.
Thank you.
And I'm almost like needing to pace myself like how often I go, because what happens is when I see stand-up comedy, I end up like thinking I'm funnier than I am, which is kind of like that's my normal. I just
Right.
think I'm funnier than I am.
Right.
But then like I'll come home and then my wife's like, "Can you stop? You know what you're doing. You're pretending you're a stand-up comedian again." I'm like no respect,
Hey, look, everybody needs, whether it's dark comedy or regular comedy, I think in general we all need to have that kind of humor about us.
Yeah.
Take everything so lightly. Don't be so serious.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, I listen to stand-up comedy when I run. So
Right.
I actually run by the club sometimes.
Right.
Because it's so close to where I'm at. And you look like a crazy person when you're running and laughing at the same time.
Well, Bluetooth created that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
People before you'd say, "Oh man, that guy's nuts."
Yeah.
Now it's like, "Oh wait, is he on a Bluetooth?
Yeah.
Is he talking to somebody?"
That's why as a public service, what I do is I find crazy people and I give them a Bluetooth and I say, "This will solve all your problems."
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Overall though, I really am honored to be here, and I consider Lakewood it's a sister city.
Yep.
All the cities around us are sister cities.
And that's the thing, like with Lakewood, Bellflower, I do so much with the Lakewood community. But I also do a lot with Bellflower, and it's funny because sometimes there's like a little territorialism where like I'll be doing an event here, but I'll kind of be wearing this hat, but I really don't see it as that. We're so close, and there's so much. I mean, we share the same school district for
Right.
most of Lakewood. There's a lot of cooperation that could work between the two cities, especially for places like yours, especially for places that it's still just a block away from Lakewood. So I don't understand why so many of the businesses in Bellflower don't advertise to Lakewoodians and Lakewoodians don't advertise to Bellflowerians, because when we keep our commerce local, it helps everybody. So I really hope a lot of people from Lakewood, a lot of people that are involved in Lakewood will come by and check it out, because it's truly awesome.
I hope so too. We didn't build it for ourselves.
Right.
I built it basically for the community to gravitate towards, where they're like, oh my God, I don't have to drive an hour and a half to go see a show right here. But it's, we're actually getting people. We had people from San Diego come down to a couple of shows.
Really?
Malibu,
Nice.
Laguna, Mission Viejo, Woodland Hills.
Got people from Malibu to come to Bellflower.
Can you believe that?
That's pretty cool.
They're not driving here for sushi.
Yeah.
But I feel like comedy travels, right? If you have a rock band that you really like, you're going to travel somewhere to see them.
Yeah.
Same thing with comedy. You follow a comic. We had Darren Carter was performing on Sunday.
Yeah, he's great.
We had a guy come in 10 minutes before he was going to get on, bought a ticket. He wasn't even there for the rest of the show. The first 4 acts. He paid to go see Darren Carter.
Yeah.
He got in just in time. He bought drinks. He got something to eat. Was there for 15, 20 minutes for Darren's act, and then that was it. So the fact that he traveled just to see Darren Carter and no one else shows you there's a little bit of that fandom.
Yeah.
That can really, I'll go see whoever I want to if I really like that person. So it does work. People travel to comedy. And the fact that we're in Bellflower shouldn't take anyone by surprise. You know, we're right off the 91 and the 605. Where do you live?
Right.
You'll get here pretty fast.
Right.
But yeah, you get it. I mean, there's a lot of touch points. And I think in time, as our outreach extends and people are more aware of who we are, where we are, what we're doing, it's all about nurturing the arts of comedy, putting on stage the best product. And when you're there for 90 minutes of a show, you don't feel like, wow, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to come back. I don't know. Things were okay, but we didn't want that. We wanted that ultimate comedy experience where, like, holy smokes, where am I?
Right.
This is great. And
the way it's set up, I mean, it moves along so fast, right?
Yeah,
so
90 minutes goes by.
And yeah, like I said, the whole experience is great. And again, thank you. And thank you. You going to add something to
Yeah.
swag
bag. You got a swag.
Got a swag bag. And my own stand-up club cup. This isn't a cup. What do you call this?
That's it's a hurricane souvenir glass. Now you can get that if you order our Bob Hope drink called the Road to Singapore, which is a killer drink.
Okay.
You get to keep the souvenir glass.
Did you bring the drink with the cup?
I did not.
Okay.
It's alcoholic.
All right. No, it's fine.
You want me to get in trouble?
That
You get to keep the bag.
Oh, I'm keeping it.
So
my wife, she has a whole drawer full of bags.
She's a bag hoarder?
Yeah.
I see.
She doesn't like being called a hoarder, but she totally is one. I just won't say it.
Or she likes to recycle. Maybe that's what it is.
No, she likes to hoard the bags.
But yeah, these glasses are great. People seem to like them. You could fill them up with any concoction you want at home. They're great. It's a great gift. If you want to give it to someone for their birthday, if you're there, you can get one.
Not this one. This one's going on my shelf.
That's going on your shelf. You can fill it with coins. It's a good coin glass.
Yeah.
Or you can fill it with lemonade. It looks good.
Guitar picks.
Guitar picks, yes.
That'd be kind of cool.
We're honored to be on your shelf. Wow. Just put earthquake preventive clay underneath it.
That's not my style.
It's a delicate glass.
I'm the last person to earthquake prevent anything.
But again, I thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to all of your listeners and all of Lakewood to come and experience the club. We're all about community. It's not corporately run. We're minority owned. We're family owned. It's grassroots, and we've been in the community since 1978. So we're just giving back, really. This is like a new chapter for what my family's been doing all these years, and it's just, another step to create more of excitement and entertainment in the downtown.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
Guys, make sure you check out the Stand Up Club. We'll put all the links in
Great.
the description and pop them up on the screen. And we will see you guys next time. And in the meantime, keep building the community brick by brick. See you guys later. Man, I'm burning up. It is hot, dude.
Hey, nice and roasty. Wow, I
Man.
felt like I was in the Caribbean.
I'm
I
like,
just starting to sweat out.
when I edit these videos,